At the outset, I should tell you that I'm a thief. Not a classless smash and grab guy or lowly pickpocket. Those require no planning or strategy beyond move quickly and be ready to run. I'm a fourth generation cat burglar. I'm very good at my job. If everything goes right, you don't notice I've been there for weeks, if ever. I understand that most people find this line of work deplorable. I'm okay with that. I could go on and on about how the system steals from all of us all the time, and how the rich use their ill-gotten gains to subjugate us, and give you the whole, I'm really a Robin Hood type figure. But I'll spare you the rationality. I'm a thief. I'm good at it. I was raised in a culture that values it. And there are other reasons, but I'm not getting into them. To be a cat burglar isn't just about breaking into houses and cleaning out a safe. That's part of the job, sure, like an iceberg. But most remains hidden from view. My father used to tell me, being a thief is being prepared to be bored out of your mind. He wasn't wrong about that, anyway. Wrong about other things, though. But I digress. Once I narrow down on an address, I have to sit on it. It sounds easy, but it's not. It's boring. Cleaning the garage, boring. Wasting my time at the DMV, boring. But it has to be done. Veg before ice cream, boy. Veg before ice cream. Dad again. He told me this while housing a sleeve of fig Newtons before dinner. Very much to my chagrin. He was right. Again. Outside of watching a house for hours on end, there were so many dozens of other things to keep track of. Has anybody made you while you're casing the place? What hours do the servants work? What's the best way to get into the property? How do I get in and out of the house with little chance of being caught? Each question needs to be answered beforehand. Finally, the big question. What's the security situation? A lot of these McMansions come pre-built with high-tech security features in place. For the first year. That's when the lower cost prices disappeared. Most people, even millionaires, would cut off services at that point. They keep signs, sure, but not the actual equipment. That's gone like disco and never coming back. Why? There are two major reasons. First, the rich live in a bubble and don't believe anyone can get to them. Money enables hubris. Second, rich people are the cheapest people in the world. Why pay for the real thing when a Chinzy lookalike will do as well? Capitalism's beating heart is to make the most money by spending the least amount of it. The illusion of security is cheaper than actual security. The night of the robbery, I felt good, prepared. I'd watched, noted everyone's daily schedule, marked my entrance and exits. I knew where the primary bedroom was located. I even wore my lucky shirt. Fat lot good that did. I waited until I saw the Uber leave, and then started my half-hour timer. It's been my experience that the help empties out not long after the boss leaves. Cat's away and all that. As if on cue, the servants bolted as soon as the Uber was out of sight. I waited the 30 minutes. Like a shitty magic spell, stragglers came to transform into witnesses. Seeing none, I made my way onto the property. The most tense moment of any heist is when you're about to break in. Even in all black, even in the dark, there's still a chance someone could see you. A nosy neighbor, a dog walker, a panhandler, anyone. Time works against you. Too slow and you draw attention. Too fast and you make mistakes. A steady hand and a calm demeanor are key here. I have those in spades. This is also the moment that you can't plan for. Did you miss bars in the windows? Are there more than one lock on the door? Did someone stay home? Is the alarm system on? Are the cameras rolling? It's a gamble that can cost you your freedom, your life. It's also a rush. I discovered that most of my time spent in the upper floor of the McMansions are unlocked. Thinking goes, well, we have several layers of security before anyone can reach that part. Why bother? I get it. It's a mistake, but one most people would make, hanging outside of the downspout. I sighed in relief. The window was unlocked. I pushed open the window and climbed in. My moccasins softly touched the floor, making no noise. They're not the most durable in the world, but inside, they're worth their weight in gold. No tread to ID, no noise on the carpets, comfortable as all hell. The room became dark. I had no desire to change that. I keep a tiny pen light in my pocket for that reason. I become so accustomed to seeing the world in the tiny circle of light that my eyes quickly attune to the dark. A cat in every sense. I assume truly valuable things, wills, bank account information, holy grails would be in the safe. I don't crack safes. Well, not in people's homes anyway. Too complicated, too messy. I was after jewels. Thanks to my extensive history, I knew where to find them. Even in the dark, you could tell how obscenely large the walk-in closet was. It wasn't even fair to call it a walk-in closet. It was more like a studio apartment for clothes. Through the walls were lined in suits and dresses that may have been worn once, maybe twice. Some still had tags on them. The last wall was dedicated to shoes, red-bottom Louis Vuittons and rare Jordans as far as the eye, or penlight, could see. What caught my attention was the makeup vanity, carved into the wall like Petra in the Shara Mountains. More specifically, 3 jewelry boxes sitting there. I moved to them like a zealot in a temple. This was what I came for. My haul would keep me in the black for the while, unless it was costume jewelry, a cocktease of stones, my dad would say. I pried open the first lid and smiled. Dozens of bejeweled brooches shimmered before me, like hundreds of eyes in mythological creature, all shapes and sizes, most ugly, but authentic. The genuine article has a certain touch to them, a heft. These were legit. I plucked a few of them from the bottom of the box and placed them into my bag. My fingers found something that had an odd shape. I pulled it out to get a closer look. A triangle inside a pentagon. It was on the small side, but full of diamonds. Valuable? Very. But something felt wrong about it. I dropped it back in. The longer you do this job, the more adept you get at picking the right things to steal. The secret is only to take 2 or 3 pieces at a time. Of the few that you take, ensure they're plain looking, nothing memorable. Unique pieces are hard to fence. If they end up in a pawn shop and a cop finds them, and it's only a hop, skip, and a jump away until it's traced back to you, iron handcuffs, jail time. Hard pass on my end. As I put the piece in my bag, my light started flickering. I gently tapped against the vanity. As I did, I glanced up in the vanity mirror. My heart seized. There was a figure standing near the open window. Out of instinct, I snapped around ready to rumble, but the figure was gone. I flipped off my light and pocketed it. I turned back to the mirror, my breath caught. It was standing in the closet doorway now. I balled my fist. I wasn't going to jail. I'd go down swinging. But when I spun around to meet them eye to eye, the figure was gone again. I was confused. I knew I saw someone, but I couldn't tell you the details. That there was a person standing there, watching. Watching like they weren't supposed to see me there. The sound of footsteps running from my primary bedroom, down the hall, through the empty house. After a beat, I saw the door slam on the floor. My legs wobbled under me. My mouth went dry. I'd experienced plenty of odd shit at the job, but a ghost? Never. Unless it wasn't a ghost. If it wasn't, then I'd truly be up shit's creek without a paddle. A person could be worse. Would be worse. A ghost can't call the cops. If you're into fucking cardboard tubes or looped up dudes, jail's the bee's knees, Brian. Dad again. I was 8 when he shared that pearl of wisdom with me. What can I say? It stuck with me. It had become a guiding principle. Make smart decisions or learn to squeeze Charmin. My eyes caught the billowing curtains. It snapped me out of my daze. Exit? Yes, but maybe not. Curiosity urged me to go down the hall and see what had been watching me. The thought germinated and bloomed before my rational mind ripped it out at the roots. Get out now, idiot. I started for the window, but I stopped myself. Clean up, then go. As I turned to shut the boxes, I heard a familiar slam of a window. Someone had shut my exit route. Fuck. I turned, and naturally there wasn't anyone there except for the sound of footsteps running down the hall. Another door slammed. Holy hell, I said. My tongue felt fat in my mouth. I swiftly cleaned up and made my way to the window. As I got there, I heard something every thief dreads. The front door opened. I knew it wasn't the one that I'd heard before, because I heard the loud, boorish homeowner come and barge again. I know you're up there. I saw you on camera, you whore. My fingers gripped the window. I tried to yank it up, but it wouldn't budge. Felt like invisible hands held it down. Panic spiked in my blood. My fingertips prickled with fear. I had to hide. Now. I retreated to the closet. As I did, I heard the door down the hall open again. Footsteps raced up the stairs. They stopped at the landing, turned, and ran back into the room, slammed the door as they did. This seemed to agitate the owner. He increased his rate, racing up the stairs 2 at a time. He bellowed, You better pray to God I don't catch you. I'm going to take my time making you bleed. So much of that as your final ascension will be a relief. I didn't know what any of that meant. I didn't want to find out. The diversion, though, gave me time to find a spot to hide. There was only one that would work. Behind the racks of clothes. It wasn't ideal, but it was out of options. I split the clothes like Moses parting the Red Sea and slid into the gap behind them. The footsteps reached the top of the stairs. Another sound. A cell phone ringing joined them there. God damn it, voice spat. You're lucky, little bitch. Run now, but you can't hide from me. I'm everywhere. After another ring, he picked up. Pete, buddy, what's going on? His voice changed entirely. My heart was zooming. Felt like a coke addict running wind sprints. I've come close to being caught before. I had to slip the fuzz once or twice, but I never found myself in a situation like this. I tried to keep my cool, but my body didn't get the message. I trembled. Sweat beaded on my forehead. Fat droplets rolled down my face. I took a deep breath and tried to recenter myself. It didn't work. Trust me, Pete. I get it. I know how many strings you had to pull to get me involved. The man is now in the primary bedroom. I prayed he'd at least avoid the closet. But when the overhead light popped on, I knew I was good as fucked. He was coming in here. I leaned against the back of the wall, as if it would eventually absorb me. I kept my hands balled into fists in case I had to come out swinging. Loath as I'm to admit, I was trapped. A thief's worst nightmare. No way out without announcing myself. Worse, I had a limited line of sight. Even if there was a chance to leave, I'd have a hard time seeing it. A man dressed in an expensive tuxedo speed walked into the closet. He was older, perhaps in his mid-50s, but didn't look it. Not at first blush. Good skin, finely trimmed mustache, full head of slicked back black hair. He looked like a cartoon drawing of a crooked politician come to life. I did my due diligence. No family connections, no internet profile, no warrants, nothing. A nobody. Perfect for gathering. He paced as he spoke. When he came by where I was hiding through the suit jackets, I could get a better look at him. Upon closer inspection, the man's actual age shone through. His face bore telltale signs of plastic surgery. Plastic, uncanny look. While most of his hair was jet black, he had a budding growth of silver poly walnut-style wings around his temples. The corner of his eyes and mouth had the faintest of cracks. Yes, he was that close to me. The man pressed his phone against his ear and held it in place with his shoulder as he shimmied out of his suit jacket. He flung an expensive jacket on the ground as if it were covered in ants. The phone never left his ear. Peter, seriously, I know, I get the scope. Okay, yes, I know. That's why I double back. I'm changing. I know. They're very particular. Only give one shot at a first impression. He stopped directly in front of me and shook his head. Would I get a first impression? This conversation engrossed him. That thrilled me. Even if he had been the tiniest bit bored, he might have noticed the face staring back at him from the Armani window in his closet. Just then, the lights flickered. The man looked up at the blinking bulbs and shook his head. As he did, I spotted something hidden away in the closet. Standing half in the shadows was the figure I'd seen earlier. It wasn't a person. I wanted to scream. I wanted to turn, run as fast as my jello legs would let me. But I couldn't do anything but shut my eyes and push it away. So that's what I did. Christ, the man said. No, not you. The fucking closet lights are on the fritz again. I know, I should have hired your guy. But Mary was so big on the asshole that built this out. What could I do? Happy wife, happy life, right? Pete said something and the man guffawed. Should I say, second happy wife, happy life? Nothing would be pleased the first bitch. As the men laughed, I felt a familiar presence next to me behind the clothes. Something that in my animal part of my brain, a predator was near. Flee, run for safety in the bush, little rabbit. But I couldn't. Not even when I felt the hot breath on my neck. This got me to wrench my eyes open. I turned and expected to find some biblical ghoul waiting to devour my soul. But instead, it was a man's hand reached for the suit jacket behind me. A $300,000 watch on his wrist. The salt and pepper arm escaping his starched white shirt. Money to burn. What I didn't see or feel was the ghoul. It was gone. The light flickering also stopped. The creature's absence took away some of the tension, but it didn't set my mind at ease. I was still trapped. If this guy stumbled or moved his hand 3 inches, he hit me square in the face. I held my breath, afraid my faint breathing might alert him. He yanked the jacket off the hanger. The hanger swung back and hit me square in the right eye. I slammed my lid closed and squeezed hard, praying that it would take away the pain, but knowing it wouldn't. I wanted to rub it, I wanted to scream, I wanted to jump up and down in pain, but all I could do was trap the pain in my body and wait for him to leave. The light above started to strobe again, and that coupled with my wounded eye made it damn near impossible to see anything clearly. My ears worked just fine. Over the man's tasteless jabbering, I heard floorboards outside the closet creak. Pete, let me tell you, I'm so excited to join the organization. I think you guys are going to love the tasty little... The light shut off. So did the man's mouth. I used the darkness to scratch my eye like a 1980s DJ. I blinked once, twice, 3 times. It stayed open. It hurt like hell, but I could see again. Or would be able to, if the light hadn't just shut off. Jesus Christ, I hate this goddamn closet. No, just let me let you go. I gotta check out something before I leave again. I know, I won't be late. He yanked his phone but futzed with it, trying to turn on the flashlight. The screen's weak light lit up the edges of his face. He looked otherworldly. A hideous goon God had not intended to replicate. His fumbling fingers found the flashlight, and as soon as he flipped it on, his phone died. Goddamn Chinese crap. How does this bullshit cost $1,000? The only light now poured in from the open closet door, right near where I had heard the creaking. My cat burglar trained eyes had adjusted to the low light. I strained my neck trying to get a peek at the door, but the man's body had come between me and the exit. Mumbling to himself, he strode toward it. Before he could leave, though, something quickly ran into the bathroom and slammed the closet door shut. I heard the lock turn before the sprinting of feet as they ran down the hallway. The man screamed and slammed into the door. The walls rattled, but the door held firm. He shouldered it again as hard as he could. It was a dumb mistake. He crumpled to the floor, moaning in pain and grabbing his shoulder. Fucking hell, he said, rubbing his wound. He kicked the bottom of the door twice, not in any attempt to open it, but out of frustration. I'm going to beat someone's ass. He kicked the bottom of the door a 3rd time for good measure. He pushed himself back up, muttering curses under his breath, and made his way to the vanity. He felt along the side of the counter until he found a latch and pulled it. With a click, the vanity revealed itself to be a door to a hidden room. An eerie white light emanated from the room, and I realized it was a glow of dozens of TV screens. A panic room. I couldn't move to get a closer look, but it was clear that he was searching the screens for something, or more likely, someone. He walked deeper into the panic room and took a moment to shuffle, ever so quietly, a little closer to where he was. I fucking knew it, the man yelled. Hate and menace in his voice made me wince. Seconds later, he came out storming out of the panic room, something in his hands. I couldn't make it out at first. When he swung it against the door, I realized it was an engineer's hammer. The handle snapped after several swings. Light from the outside poured through the hole. The man pressed his face against the opening and scanned the primary bedroom. He put his mouth to it and yelled, I know you're out, and when I find you, you're going to wish you were dead. With a dramatic flourish, he booted the closet door. It finally swung open. Slamming into the door stopped, vibrating it like a tuning fork. He walked through, clutching the hammer hard in his hand. He had a murder on his mind, and I was glad it wasn't coming for me. Now the familiar sound of footsteps running down the hall prompted the man to sprint after them. I heard the door slam across the house. A rhythmic pounding of the hammer on the door handle soon followed, creating the worst sounding drum and bass track of all time. Last man at the bar fucks the ugliest broad. Dad, for my memories, confirming what my gut already knew. It was time to split. I pushed through the clothes and crept out the closet door. I had a clean path to the window. The man was preoccupied with his hammer. I didn't want to imagine where the ghoul was. I had 15 feet from freedom. So why couldn't I convince myself to leave? I knew I should. Self-perseverance streamed at me as I flung the window open, shimmying down the drain pipe and a sprint to my car. I felt my dad pushing me from beyond the grave. Move, you mook. The fuzz will be here soon. But something was holding me back. If that guy killed someone and I didn't stop it, I'd never forgive myself. I'd have that person's blood on my hands. I couldn't carry that weight. I'm a crook, not a bastard. Sighing, I changed course and headed through the panic room door. I needed to see what was happening. I also needed to find out where the cameras were located in the house so I wouldn't inadvertently show up on one. It might show you up in another pathway to escape if the need arose. My mouth hit the floor as I walked into the panic room. A bank of monitors displayed nearly every inch of the house inside and out. I'd spotted the outside cameras while I cased the place and found dead zones between them, but that was not true inside. The camera pointed directly at the window I had climbed through. There was one looking at me right now. Buck. The man wailing on the handle caught my eye. While it was only a few direct hits to dislodge the first handle, this one was not cooperating with him. I watched him take 6 massive swings and nothing. It held firm. Top quality handle. Adamantium-esque. I looked around for anything else that might be used as a weapon, and came up empty. Maybe there was something I could use in the bedroom. With the man focused on trying to break down the door, I eased my way out of the closet into the bedroom. The place was spotless. Nothing dangerous in here, but unearned wealth and few scruples. There wasn't anything I could use to counteract a hammer swing. "Damn it," I muttered. "Who are you?" came a voice from under the bed. I screamed in fright, but a quick slap to my hand over my mouth stopped it from escaping to the wider world. I glanced down at the floor under the bed. Were all my worst childhood fears coming true at the same time? Despite every horror story advising me not to, I got down on the floor and looked under the bed. A scared woman in her early 20s was staring back at me. Her eyes were wide. I could see her trembling. She was filthy, but I'm not sure she entered the house that way. A sour stench surrounded her. I realized she'd been there a while. She had broken, bloody fingernails, as if she was trying to pry open a stuck door. On the back of her hand, I saw a pink hillocks of freshly branded skin. A shape that I instantly recognized. A triangle inside a pentagon. "Who are you?" she asked again. Her voice was a vapor. "Might as well be honest." "A thief," I said. "Who the hell are you?" "He kidnapped me. He's been holding me here for 2 weeks," the woman said, her voice breaking. "He was going to sack..." Her voice caught again. He's a monster." Suddenly, the phone conversation with the man Pete had made more sense. It chilled me. Whatever he had planned for this woman would not be pleasant. "What's your name?" "Inez," she said. "Brian," I said. "He's busy, Inez. Let's get out of here." "I can't." "What? Why?" "Not yet." "He's chasing shadows," I said, my voice transforming from a whisper to a yell. "Now's the chance." "I promised them I'd help finish the job." "You promised the monster?" "No," Inez said. At once, all the lights of the house flickered and shut off. With every electrical machine off, the house felt still, abnormally quiet. I could feel my heartbeat. It reverberated through my whole body. Wait, no, that wasn't my heart. The entire house was vibrating. I promised the demon I conjured. "Who the fuck is in my bedroom?" the man yelled down the hall. "She's my prize, you hear? Tell Pete to find his own goddamn lamb." "Get under here, Brian," Inez yelled. I wasn't going to argue. I dropped down to the floor and Aubrey crawled under the bed. As soon as my legs were safely under, the entire house shuddered again, rolling like an earthquake. My stomach flipped. I chewed back the vomit and charged the gates. As fast as it came, it left. Both my bile and the house. It was still again. The only noise I heard was the chain on the fan gently tapping against the dome light. "Whatever you do, don't look at it." I shut my eyes. A concussive explosion blew out the door in the hall. I heard the man cry out before his body thumped against the wall, a sickening crack of bones snapping on impact twisted down the hall. What the fuck? 2 thunderous house-rattling stomps followed. The man was whimpering in pain and fear and God knows what else. I heard him stand, but before he could flee, the air shattered out with the sound of thousands of people's agonizing screams and a low rumbling growl. "Oh my God!" the man yelled. The panic in his voice was palpable. His brain's terror messages finally connected with his legs. The last thing we heard was the thumping footsteps rushing towards us. Why not leave? I thought. The stairs and the exit were right there. Then it dawned on me. He was trying to get to his panic room, the place where he believed his money had bought him security, his sanctuary, his safe place. But what he didn't understand was that there would be no protection here. He wasn't going to find shelter to shield him from the bomb. He was going to find his tomb. As soon as he crossed the threshold of the door, an invisible force shoved him to the back. Ragdoll-like, he flew through the air, crashing into the window. It shattered. Glass fell from him like shimmering jewels I'd seen on the brooch. The man landed with a thud next to the bed. Despite Yanez's warning, I opened my eyes and saw the body crushed near us. I saw the man. He saw me. Blood leaked out from dozens of slices on his arms and face. There was a burn mark on his back. His skin sizzled. You could smell the stink of cooked meat. To think about what went through his brain at that moment. An unholy monster was chasing him, threatening him. His life was on the line. He had just suffered traumatic injuries. Then he sees a strange man hiding under his bed with the woman he planned to use for some ungodly ritual. Before the chaos of the moment returned, he had to think, what the hell is going on here? And who the hell are you? The man attempted to stand, but the scaled-covered hand seized him with the iron grip. He struggled, yelled, pleaded, but he couldn't break free. The creature let out another choir's worth of screaming voices and dragged the man into the closet by his hair. The man screamed at us to help, but we didn't move an inch. Have mercy, please. I have a family. This isn't right. Please. I glanced at Yanez. She was stoic. I wondered if the man had felt the same indifference when he abducted and beat her. Each time the demon's cloven hoof hit the carpet, it ignited the fabric. Little fires everywhere. The man screamed at the closet door slammed behind him. The next sounds we heard were the snapping of bones and the dying screams of a condemned man. Let's go, Yanez said, shimmying out from under the bed. You don't have to tell me twice. There were several smaller fires coalesced into a larger blaze. The house was a goner. The flames blocked the doorway and the stairs. Yanez held up her hand to shield herself from the heat, but it was in vain. She turned to me, eyes pleading. What do we do? I got this, I said. I dashed to the window, knocked out the remaining broken glass. Smoke poured out of it into the night air. Come on, I yelled. Climb down the drain pipe. I have a car nearby. Yanez nodded and nearly leapt out the window. She moved down the drain pipe so quickly I lost sight of her almost instantly. I climbed out the window and stopped to look back in. The black smoke filling the room made seeing anything impossible. I felt my tool bag strapped to me. I reached in and found the brooches I stole. Holding them up to my face, I could see dozens of little fires reflecting off their surface. Without giving it a second thought, I tossed everything back into the house. I didn't need a curse following me. Hurry, please, the firemen are coming, Yanez said. She was right. Fire and police, probably. I didn't want to be here when they arrived. I couldn't imagine Yanez had any desire to stick around any longer as well. Once I was on the ground, I helped her climb the outer fence and clambered over after her. As we hit the ground, I saw dozens of neighbors coming over to watch the show. None of them seemed to clock us. I grabbed Yanez's hand and led her to the darkness away from the potential witnesses. We walked 3 blocks to where I'd stashed my car. The neighborhood was alive, and with approaching sirens and burning mansion, Yanez sat down on the curb, put her head in her hands and sobbed. I wanted to comfort her, but I wasn't sure if I should. Are you okay? I finally offered. No, she said. But when is life ever okay? I laughed. He got me there. She spat towards the mansion. I hope his soul rots in hell. I'd say he got what he deserved. I had so many questions for her, but I didn't feel like this was the time for them. Well, there was time for one. Even if I wanted to avoid asking, my mouth just went for it. How did you do that? The demon? I nodded. I prayed for it. But you were praying to God, right? I said, confused. I prayed for revenge, she said, standing. And finally something heard me. Did you promise it anything? Do you owe your soul to it or something? She gave me a weak smile and wiped away her tears. I would never get that answer. She softly touched my shoulder, nodded her head in thanks, and started walking down the street. I wanted to call out, to offer her a ride somewhere, to ask her 100 questions, to offer her help. She didn't want it. She didn't need it. She operated on a level that was higher than I could even conceive. Dabbled in things I couldn't imagine. Dark things. Things I wouldn't imagine ever again. Despite my curiosity, I didn't follow her. She needed peace. Solitude. A thought came to me in that moment. When you've got all you came here to get, you leave. That was Dad again. He was talking about breaking and entering, but I couldn't help feel like that's how it worked out now too. We both got our freedom back. A second chance we thought we'd never get. When you get what you came to get, you leave. Thanks, Dad. Thank you for everybody who came by and listened to the story. If you did enjoy the story, be sure to take a look out for SunHeadPrime. Inside of my description, I'll have a couple of links to more of their things.